Hi, everyone, and welcome to Into Enlightenment with me, Nancy. It is Memorial Day, and wishing family and friends and people out there who've lost a love of theirs defending our beautiful country. And you're in my thoughts and you're in my prayers. My dad also was in the Navy before I was born. He joined right out, he quit high school and joined the Navy. And he joined at a young age. He lied about his age. And when the Navy found out, my Mimi, his mom, signed the papers so he could stay in and do his time there. I remember looking at pictures when he was in the Navy, and he got his jaw broke, and he was in the infirmary for a little while. I guess the story is, and I'm probably wrong, because you know how like you hear it when the stories get told down to the next generation, and I might have only heard partial story of it, but this is the part that I remembered. And they were at port somewhere, and they had one too many to drink. Next thing you know, words were spoken, and my dad got his jaw broke. And I believe he was very young when I say he joined the Navy, I believe at 16. So I think he learned a lesson, hopefully, or maybe he won. I don't know. So that was my story and my family. My dad, when my mom and dad were high school sweethearts, and he got back, and they got married and started to have kids. I have one brother that's older than me, and then there's me and two younger brothers. My younger brother that I grew up with is 3 years younger than me, and I have another brother who is 21 years younger than me. Change of life, baby, same parents. I got to tell you, looking back, it wasn't easy growing up. There was love there, definitely, from my mom's side of the family and my cousins and all that. My dad drank a lot when he was home, and he wasn't pleasant to be around. He would bully my older brother and not be nice to my mom, and I just hid and cowered when he drank. I remember my mom's oldest brother. He's passed since. He told my father if he ever laid a hand on my mother again, it would be the last one he ever did. And I believe my mom stopped saying anything from that point. And my dad went on the road. He was a cross-country trucker. And life was okay. He paid the bills. My mom worked too. She had a good job at the hospital here where I live. Prior to that, she worked in a nursing home, and then it opened up and she went there. It was great. And life was good, and family was good. And then Dad would come home, and I dreaded it. And I know my oldest brother did. I don't know about my younger, because we knew that he would be drinking again, and the turmoil would start, and the fights would begin between my parents, and he would be a bully. Sometimes the police would come, and that was the last thing they wanted to do, is arrest a parent back in the 70s. Even the 70s. And the most that I can remember, and were the 70s, early 80s. I'm not sure when my dad got sober, but he did. But before he got sober, he definitely was a tornado roaring through the lives of his children and his mom and probably friends and other siblings of my dad. Yeah, he would, my mom would get mad and kick him out of his bedroom, and he would come into mine. And he was inappropriate with me. And I kept it a secret for a very long time. You know, they say you're as sick as your secrets. And I kept it a secret because I was ashamed. I thought I did something wrong. And I had a lot of stuff going on in my life that people didn't know about. You know, I am enlightened, and I hid that as well. Because in the 70s, you don't talk about that, you know. It scared people, and I was already a little different. My mom used to say it was from the gas they gave her when she was pregnant, giving birth to me, and we made a joke about it. But we know it's different. And so because of my childhood and my dad's rage and anger towards, you know, the immediate family, we kept it a secret, and nobody talked about it. I'd be at the bus stop in the morning, and you know, at my house was, you if you see anybody at the bus, you don't talk, you don't ask what happened, and you leave it alone. And so at the bus stop, I was ashamed, you know, of my father. I was ashamed of my life. I did nothing wrong, but I was ashamed, and I carried it with me. And when I got older, don't get me wrong, life was still, my mom was stable, my grandparents were stable, and we had love. It was just my dad. And you know, there are no more secrets in my family, but it took a lot of courage. And I'll get to that in a moment. But I got into drugs and alcohol, and I was running with it. I forget what age I was, but I was 17, maybe 18 when my dad got sober, and tried to change our lives, you know. He also cheated on my mom. He cheated on her when he got sober. My mom was ready to move on finally at that point. She had tried to keep us together, and the family together, because you know, that's what you did. And my father ended up being loyal, coming back and doing his apology and staying sober, and he stayed sober. He's been passed away now 2 years. He died of a heart attack during COVID, and my oldest brother and my youngest brother were with him in a hospital. They let him in during COVID because we didn't go away. You know, our family was like, we're not going away, and who's the president of this hospital? They allowed my younger brother in, and they got him a cot, and we did the right thing by my dad and by our family. And that's because my dad got sober and tried to make amends for the rest of his life to us, to our children, and to my mom, and help people along the way. My mom never knew about it. I always thought she did. It was the one thing that held me back in my life, was not being able to trust my parents, because then when you think you can't trust them, you can't trust your universe, the people around you, friends, you can't trust anyone or anything. And you know, my parents worked really hard, and I got sober, and I'm happy, and I have a good life today. I'm 34 years clean and sober. But it wasn't until I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer that the secret had to be told, because it was eating me alive. And I want to say everybody knew, except for the ones that needed to know. In my immediate family, I was so afraid. I thought, you know, it would be put back on me. And it sort of was, because I knew my mom, a kind, loving, caring person, very strong-willed. She's an Aries and a fire sign. She's a fighter. But when it came out, I found out that my mom was molested as a child, and my dad was by his mom, and it ran in my family. It was generational, and we got to heal, as a family, and we don't have any more secrets in our family, and we love each other and support each other. And it took a long time for me to forgive my father, because I didn't talk about it, and it was a secret, and I was a kid, and I chose men that weren't good for me, and I chose friends that weren't good for me, and I stuffed my intuition and who I am as a person until my cancer. And then I said, and it wasn't even me who told my mom. My daughter Tracy saw me. She came to visit, and she saw me falling apart. And she told my mom. I can't tell you how I blamed my mom. I thought she knew. She didn't. I love my mom. We have a good relationship. My journey has been about healing and loving. Truly loving myself, finding myself, being myself, honoring myself and my family. I'm sorry I'm crying. They're really tears of joy, not sorrow. Me talking about this is big because I still like to keep it a secret and only let people in just a little. But I teach, and I'm a mentor, and I'm an ordained minister, and I'm a healer. And I've walked through many, many challenges and finding God. I could tell you the stories. Mother Mary came to me. I knew I would be fine. My children are free to be enlightened, and they tell me things that happen in their life. And my dad let me heal him. You forgive somebody, right? When you can heal them, right? I healed my dad. He loved his Reiki. We talked. He would tell me what would happen for him on the table. We had closure, understanding, and unconditional love. And before that, I had nothing but rage and hatred and anger towards him. And my mom, for no reason. I guess now, knowing, the truth came out, my mom had no clue. And my family's healed. Life is good. And my dad made up for his hurt and sorrow. He carried a lot with him as well. And he couldn't wait to get out of that house he was in. He joined the Navy at 16. He had to get away. But we have to bring ourselves wherever we go. And I like who I am today, so I'm honored to bring myself wherever I go. And if there's anyone out there struggling, you're not alone. And if no one has told you they love you today, I love you. Have a blessed day.